Tonight, help us save our home. Families campaigning to save a specialist dementia care home. Appeal to the Scottish Government to step in.
You know, I'm going to fight and keep fighting. That's what we do for our loved ones. They're not just numbers.
Also making the headlines, the first major test of the new hate crime law. The Old Firm match at Ibrox. Will police be flooded with complaints?
As Derby Day approaches, we preview the massive match between Rangers and Celtic in the Scottish Premiership. And from movies to Motherwell, the US director planning a fairy tale story with the Steelman. I'm Gordon Cree in Edinburgh. And I'm Courtney Cameron in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Families campaigning against the closure of a specialist dementia care home in Lanark are appealing for the Scottish Government to step in and save the facility. It was confirmed last week that McClymont House, which caters for elderly people with several forms of the disease, will shut. Those with loved ones in the home fear moving them could kill them, and that even if they survive the move, many will be unable to travel the long distances to see them in their new placements, leaving them isolated and scared. Ollie Dickinson has more.
For Emma and her mum, Alana, the decision to place Margaret, their dignified, outgoing and intelligent mother and nana, into McClymont House wasn't an easy one. But they say it was the perfect choice the moment they arrived.
As a family, we had to decide that the best thing would be if we could find somewhere that was like my mum's home, where she could be safe and loved and cared for. We did find that in Lanark, at McClymont House. And in no way did we ever think. We thought that was where Mum was going to be for the rest of her life. The fact that McClymont gets the 5-star rating from the Care Inspectorate, I mean, it's the jewel in the council.
But 8 months ago, South Lanarkshire Health and Social Care Partnership announced it was considering closing the home in an effort to balance the books. In response, the family and others launched a draining, emotional and at times harsh battle.
The illness that she's got is devastating, and to have to fight a campaign at this very difficult time for her and us, to keep her safe in the place where she should be, is, I can't even tell you what the emotional strain is.
However, it's a battle they now fear they've lost. Last week, the council confirmed the home will close in 7 months' time.
It's taken so much from us for the last 6 months, but I just feel that there'll be no regrets. Sorry.
You okay?
That we've done everything that we can. Not just the families and the residents, but the community have really got behind it.
Jan and John Wilson are another family shocked by the closure. Jan's mum, Joan, lives at McClymont, and the couple cannot believe the decision.
Shocking isn't the word. It was just...
disgusting is a better word for it.
It was disgust. I was frightened. I was very, very distressed. And, you know, just at the thought of, well, how quickly this is going to happen, why is it happening?
The home is just 1.25 miles down the road from theirs. It means one or other of them see Joan most days. The heartbreaking reality is that would stop if she moved to Rutherglen or East Kilbride.
It's a safe, loving environment, and when I go in, it's her home and it's become our family home, and by extension the staff have become our family.
To lose such a facility, oh my God, it beggars belief.
In a statement, the South Lanarkshire Health and Social Care Partnership told STV News the necessary and appropriate due process has been followed throughout what we recognise as a challenging time. An urgent appeal has been made to the Scottish Government for additional funding for health and social care. Should this be successful, we can confirm that the decision regarding McClymont House would be reconsidered by the IJB. They also say the ongoing well-being, safety and dignity of the 11 long-term residents remain their primary focus. The McClymont families now want a special case to be made and the Scottish Government to step in.
You know, I'm going to fight and keep fighting. That's what we do for our loved ones. They're not just numbers. They're not just, you know, the way that they're treating them. I just think would they do that to their family members? So of course, that's all we can do, is to keep hoping and to keep fighting until they do evict my nana.
Ollie Dickinson reporting there. Now, the First Minister says he has every confidence the police will handle issues arising from this weekend's Old Firm match proportionately. Sunday's fixture will be the first major test of the new hate crime law since it came into force on Monday.
Opponents of the law have raised concerns officers will be inundated with complaints. Police have had to deal with thousands in the first few days of the legislation. Our political correspondent Ewan Petrie reports.
Come on, lads, let's go!
The biggest rivals in Scottish football meet less than a week after new hate crime laws came into force. Since Monday, police have had to deal with thousands of complaints. Some fear uncertainty over the precise reach of the new legislation will lead to many more this weekend.
The concerns that were expressed in the run-up to the bill, the law being enacted by the police and others, were that the police would find themselves deluged by lots of spurious and vexatious complaints. I think there's a real concern we're going to see that on the back of the Old Firm match this weekend, just as we've seen it at the start of this week, when in the first 48 hours we had nearly 4,000 complaints.
It's the hate monster.
The new law creates an offence of stirring up hatred against certain protected characteristics. However, both the Scottish Government and Police Scotland have faced criticism for failing to explain exactly how it will operate. The First Minister believes police will be able to handle any fallout from the change.
Police have been able to deal with vexatious complaints throughout the course of their time as police officers. We know that police have been able to police hold the firm matches and other football matches very well, very appropriately, proportionately over the years, and I've got every confidence they'll be able to do that in terms of this weekend's Old Firm game.
The fact there will be no away fans at Ibrox on Sunday may also lessen the chances of the new law being applied.
If there were opposing supporters there, then the possibility of feeling threatened or abused is greater. Because nobody's there and they're watching it through a secondary medium, i.e. TV, or listening to it on the radio, then that's lesser in terms of causing threatening or abusive reaction. And the test of that is that somebody would feel fear and alarm.
Once again, the spotlight at the final whistle in this fixture is likely to fall on more than just the football. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
From tomorrow, people who care for a loved one will be entitled to take up to a week of leave every year to give or arrange care for a dependent. Employees will be allowed to claim the leave from the first day in a job, and a dependent does not need to be a family member to qualify. Campaigners have called the change groundbreaking.
They might be under tremendous stress. They might end up taking annual leave off instead, and then not being able to use that for the right purposes. So it's very much needed to help carers better balance work and caring responsibilities.
To other stories, and a fatal accident inquiry is to be held into the death of a 3-year-old boy at Glasgow's Queen Elizabeth University Hospital. Archie Donald died in November 2019 after being admitted to the Royal Hospital for Children. The inquiry will examine the circumstances of Archie's death with an expected focus on what role the identification and treatment of a line infection played in his passing. A teenager has appeared in court charged with the alleged murder of a man outside a Greenock primary school. Michael Beaton was found seriously injured on Drumfrocker Road in November and later died in hospital. Richard Mullen made no plea to the charges at the town's sheriff courts. A man is being treated in hospital after he was deliberately struck by a car in Glasgow. The 42-year-old was hit by the vehicle on Acamore Road in Drumchapel just after 11 o'clock last night. Police say the car drove off and inquiries are ongoing. One of the 2 late and over-budget ferries being built at Ferguson Marine Shipyard is due to be launched next week. The MV Glen Rosa and its sister vessel, the Glen Sannox, have suffered repeated delays and are set to cost 3 times their initial price. The ferry will need to undergo trials before its handover, which is expected in September. Now, a 12-year-old actress from Glasgow says she can't wait for the short film she starred in to screen at the world-famous Cannes Film Festival. The young rising star has her sights set on Hollywood, as Fraser Nichol reports.
We're standing by where my granddad proposed to my gran. And it's stunning.
Her performance as a young podcast-obsessed granddaughter in this short film is just the latest in a growing catalogue for Kayla Caldwell.
I can't find the keys.
My idiot uncle's forgotten the car keys.
The 12-year-old has big dreams of a career on the silver screen.
I love it so much, there's nothing else I want to do. And like I said to teachers at my school have said, try to pick a viable career choice. I told one of my teachers, well, if acting doesn't work out for me, I'll just run away and join the circus.
She almost did just that in this short film. Her performance in Learning Magic won her the Best Supporting Actor at the Filmapalooza Festival in Portugal.
The winner is Kayla Caldwell in Learning Magic.
But her eyes are now set on the next red carpet as the cast of Life's a Beach, an award-winning film set in Ayr, prepare to head to the Cannes Film Festival. Producer Toria says it's a chance to put Scottish cinema on the map.
I don't know of any other films made in Ayr that have been on the Cannes platform, so it's pretty exciting.
But co-star Stephen Kerr sees Kayla heading for the top, with or without the glitz and glamour of Cannes.
I don't think if she didn't make this film it would change anything. I think she's got a great future ahead of her. That was what the host who awarded her the award in Lisbon said, you know, the bright future that she's got. That's not going to change.
Still in first year at high school, Kayla has plenty of time to hone her skills. For now, she's happy soaking up the stardom.
I'm so lucky to have done everything I'm doing, and I really hope I can do a lot more in the future.
Fraser Nichol, STV News.
And now it's time for the sport with Raman. A big weekend ahead.
It sure is, Courtney. Massive game at Ibrox on Sunday. Rangers host Celtic. Celtic have a 1-point lead at the top of the Premiership, but the Ibrox club have a game in hand. And today we've been speaking to both managers. Good evening. Brendan Rodgers says he's comfortable with John Beaton being in charge of Sunday's Old Firm derby, describing the referee as one of the best in the country. Last month, Rodgers was critical of Beaton's performance when Celtic lost to Hearts. Meanwhile, Philippe Clement insists this weekend's clash won't decide which team wins the Premiership. Ronnie Charters reports.
He was the man in the centre of a storm after Brendan Rodgers labelled his VAR performance at Tynecastle as incompetent. But now John Beaton will be the man in the centre of the pitch come Derby Day at Ibrox. Rodgers served a one-match ban for his criticism of Beaton, but the Celtic manager has no problem with him being appointed the referee for Sunday's top-of-the-table clash.
These games are for the top referees, and I've always said that John Beaton's one of the top referees in the country. So he's been allocated the game. I'm comfortable with that. He's refereed games that have been there before. So my point, like I said before, was for that one game.
Across the city, as Philippe Clement gets set for his first taste of this fixture at Ibrox, Rangers are targeting a win to move them back to the top. So how significant is this match in the title race?
It's always a big game. It's a 6-point game that we know. We have another one in a few weeks also in that way. But it's not yet a decisive game. So whoever wins is not champion.
A major boost for the champions at Lennoxtown this morning. Captain Cal McGregor back in training and is set to feature on Sunday.
He's unremarkable to be back. He's way ahead of schedule from what we thought. But it just shows you his professionalism and how hard he's worked. So yeah, he'll be involved in the squad. And if he is, then it's great news for us in every capacity, because we've got a clean bill of health, really, for probably the first time this season.
For Rangers, 11 wins out of 12 since the New Year defeat at Celtic Park, heading into the third instalment of the season.
It is a must-win, but at the same time, there's a long way to go after this. There'll still be a lot of games to play and maybe points drops by either team. So obviously we go into it treating it as a must-win game, but at the same time, I still think it's not going to decide anything.
It's a fixture never short of passion, pressure and pride. And as these famous old rivals take to the field at high noon come Sunday, this game has all the makings of a classic. Ronnie Charters, STV News.
Ellie Yuan says he can't contemplate anything other than a top 6 finish for Hibernian as they enter the final games before the split. Across at Hearts, Xander Clark says he'd have laughed at the idea he'd be in contention to go to the Euros as he struggled to find a new club 2 years ago. Jamie Borthwick reports.
It's the countdown to the split. Hibs have just 2 games to secure a top 6 finish, and one Easter Road star is already visualising their goal.
When I go on the bed, I can't imagine that we won't reach the top 6. You know, I think if you keep believing until the last game, everything can happen.
Hibs need other results to go their way as they sit behind Dundee and St Mirren in 7th place. There's little room for error when they host St Johnstone tomorrow, with the Perth men battling to stay above the relegation zone.
Everybody's fighting for something, and I think that's why they design the league the way they have with that split. But for us, we give St Johnstone full respect. We know they're a dangerous team and they're fighting for something, and we're fighting for something.
It's been a big season for Xander Clark as the Hearts goalkeeper has kept hold of the number 1 jersey and made his debut for Scotland.
22 months ago, when I'm, training on my own, and a couple of my mates are having to help me out and put me through my paces. To think that, from then till now, that you'd be, in contention and being involved in part of the national squad going to Euros is probably something that I'd have laughed at you if you'd said that.
Hearts are within touching distance of confirming 3rd place ahead of tomorrow's trip to St Mirren.
If we achieve what we want to achieve this season in the league before the end of the season, the full focus will be on to go as far as we can in the cup, and beyond that is starting about, right, how do we get better for next season? So it doesn't stop, there's no easing off.
Jamie Borthwick, STV News.
St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson is urging his players to embrace the chance to make history and secure back-to-back top 6 finishes for the first time in almost 40 years. A win for the Buddies against Hearts tomorrow would guarantee their place in the top half of the table. Meanwhile, the club have triggered a 1-year contract extension for Caelan Boyd-Munce after the midfielder made 20 starts for the team.
We've not had consecutive top 6 finishes for 39 years. So that tells you that this hasn't been a habit, it hasn't been something that should be expected. But it's credit to this group of players and staff that we've got ourselves into this position to raise the expectations. So you have to embrace that, and that's what we want to do. We don't go in with any fear, we go with a lot of respect, and it's something we're going to enjoy.
Brad Lyons says he's delighted after signing a new contract with Kilmarnock, keeping him at the club until 2026. Well, Killie are at home to Ross County tomorrow. Motherwell's match at Dundee is subject to a pitch inspection tomorrow morning. Bottom club Livingston are at home to Aberdeen, and Rangers against Celtic is a 12 o'clock kick-off on Sunday. Scotland's women's team have kicked off their Euro 2025 qualifying campaign. Pedro Martinez-Losa's side are away to Serbia. In their opening group game, they played just under an hour, and the latest score is 0-0, the best chance so far, falling to Erin Cuthbert in the first half. And in rugby, there are big European games for Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh. The Warriors are away to Harlequins in the last 16 of the Champions Cup tonight, and Edinburgh host Bayonne in the last 16 of the Challenge Cup tomorrow. That, folks, is all your sport tonight. Have a great weekend.
Raman, thank you. Well, we may have hoped spring had sprung, but instead a storm is brewing. To find out what's going on, we've sent Sean to a farm. Sean, there's been anything but sunshine for their lambethon.
Yes, in Salzgirth Farm, that's the rain, a big torrent coming back on once again. Of course, it's a fickle time of year, isn't it? We get a couple of nice days, several horrible days, but I've got plenty of cuteness for you. Let me just see if I can get one of these little sweet peas for you. Look at this. How adorable is this little duckling? Go on, you're live on telly. There you go. And I've also been practicing. I know I'm a couple of months early with the turkeys. Wait for this. OK, turkeys ready to perform? Way! There we go, Sean and the singing turkeys. There's also the lambing over there as well just now. We'll get to that in a second. But the farm have been doing tours during the Easter holidays. I caught up with some soggy people earlier on today.
So we're running tours just during the Easter holidays, running it during the week. Yeah, so we get to get wet every day.
We had the experience to hold the baby lambs that was born this morning. So it was very nice to have this experience. It's quite unique. It's my first time. So yeah, we really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's good, apart from the rain, but yeah, still lots of fun.
What was your favourite animal today in the farm?
The cows.
The cows? You're the first person to see the cows. Why?
Because they're cute.
So they're all home now, drying off and warming up because, by jings, what a day it's been today. Rain, temperatures 5 degrees, a lot of snow up on the Ochils as well at the moment. But of course, this weekend it's all about Storm Kathleen. She's going to bring us some very, very strong winds during the weekend. A lot of disruption in the ferries, I expect. Let's go and have a look at the forecast and hopefully we can grab a lamb while we're at it.
A spell of wows will gradually settle into a scattering of traditional tapas. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
I'm now over in the lambing shed. Let me introduce you to Sean, which is spelled S-E-A-N. So the weather for the weekend, of course, it's all about Storm Kathleen at the moment. Well, she is just west of Portugal, and unfortunately she's going to bring us some very windy conditions, especially during tomorrow. Now, expect in very exposed areas we could get gusts of wind 65 miles per hour for the, I know it sounds terrible, 65 miles per hour for the likes of Balerno, Dalmellington, around the likes of Clyde Muirshiel. In the more exposed areas around the North Channel, around Ballantrae, Girvan and also Isla, we could get gusts of wind up to 70 miles per hour tomorrow. So a very windy day and widely 50 to 60 miles per hour. The rain we've got at the moment, the hill snow still continuing tonight, yeah, and it's going to be very, very mild. Temperatures about 11 or 12 degrees in the southwest, and that mild area moving northwards. Now tomorrow I think we'll see lots of showers to start the day. You will go back to Mum in a minute. To start the day, and then it looks as if most of the showers will actually ease off during the early part of the afternoon. So showers at least to start with, then they ease off, and then we'll see more showers developing in the afternoon. But look at those temperatures, 17 degrees in Edinburgh, a huge difference from today, 5-6 degrees Celsius, a 10-degree jump. But of course, with that wind around, it will feel rather chilly. On Sunday, lots of showers still around, especially in western parts of the country, but hopefully easing off a little bit later on, but still very blustery. Now, will we go back to Mum? I've got to say it. Bye from us.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally tonight, Motherwell Football Club have made no secret about their desire of investment from a Hollywood mogul with deep pockets. The Steelmen are keen to replicate success reaped by teams like Wrexham following their Tinseltown takeover.
Yes, it now seems their wish may come true. The former vice president of Netflix is locked in talks with the club. Brandon Cook reports.
Taylor Swift, give some dosh.
It's not quite Taylor Swift, but this video, which was widely ridiculed by fans, may have worked. With finances tight, Motherwell are keen for outside investment, and now they've caught the eye of a Hollywood media mogul.
We just need more money. At the end of the day, everybody needs more money, and football is always money. So it's a decent enough team, decent enough support, a wee bit more extra money than who knows.
That'd be quite good if it brings more money in Motherwell, doesn't it?
I think it must be a good thing because they're always in financial trouble.
The mysterious US-based investor was revealed today as former Netflix vice president Eric Barmack. The 50-year-old TV producer was responsible for commissioning some of the streaming giant's international hits. For the last 5 years, he's been CEO of his own production company in Los Angeles.
If there's somebody willing to invest in Motherwell Football Club and to help improve things, then it's a win-win for everybody, for the fans, for the club, for the staff.
Rob and I came together to purchase a football club.
Motherwell will be keen to replicate success seen in Wrexham following their takeover 3 years ago by Hollywood actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney.
as a Wrexham supporter, a long-suffering Wrexham supporter before Rob and Ryan, we were very sceptical. So you're probably right to be a little bit cautious and ask questions of the right people. Listen, if they're there with the right intentions, then what I would say is enjoy it. It's put Wrexham on the map. And a club as historic as Motherwell, I really hope that they're in it for the right reasons.
As a fan-owned club, the Well Society, who are the majority shareholders here at Fir Park, well, they'll ultimately have the final say on whether Mr Barmack can swap the sunny climate of California for the rain and cold here in Motherwell. Today, no public comment from the Well Society, but we're told there's been a number of online meetings over the past few weeks, and that there's cautious optimism.
Someone like that, hearing that they want to invest in a club like Motherwell is absolutely brilliant. It's very exciting, makes headlines, as you'll know. But at the same time, Motherwell have been there before. We've seen people come in with huge ideas, huge plans, trying to smash that Scottish football ceiling before as well at Motherwell. And we know that that can inevitably sometimes go boom.
We understand Mr Barmack will swap California for Lanarkshire next week for an in-person meeting. The clubs say they're working up an agreement to put to shareholders in the coming weeks. Many are wary, but could it be the Hollywood plea with a fairy tale ending? Brandon Cook, STV News, Motherwell.
Well, exciting times ahead for Motherwell fans.
Have a lovely weekend. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.